Alright, Shalom. Before I start, going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, B'chach Chorash, to honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim wa Akwa, learning, teaching, truth, and sincerity. Another video through the Spirit. Your brother Malak from GMS Detroit. Hey, and this video right here is sparked off this this Israelite woman out there in UK. Yeah, you know, I give Keisha a lot of hell, but hey, at the end of the day, right, this is our people, that's our woman. We're gonna get things all back green and gravy in the kingdom. So she was making some hell of a points right here. You know, she's one of the Israelites scattered abroad out there in England, right? And she's gonna go on to talk about the, you know, racism that they deal with from the white folk out there. And she's gonna, you know, she's making mention of the very fact that something that Esau Edom tends to forget. As much as these people claim to hate us, if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have their countries and their power. We literally built these fucking countries up that they love to insult us in and treat us like shit in. Had it not been for our labor, they wouldn't have it. So I'm gonna let her start. I'm gonna introduce you, if you didn't know, to what's known as the Windrush Generation, and then also the Windrush scandal. All right, after World War II, right, 1995, from 1939 roughly to 1945, you have World War II pop off. Germany, England, aka Britain, right? Russia, Italy, America, Japan, right? The heavy hitters all involved. And after the war, Britain was down bad, lost a lot of men, took a lot of damage. And so they invited Negroes to come rebuild the country. And after rebuilding the country, did we get thanked? Did we get love and admiration and acceptance into society? No, we got treated like shit per usual. So let's let her talk. Then we're going to get some facts and we're going to get some scriptures, y'all. This is not our rest. This is not our world. We're looking for our kingdom to come to the children of Israel.
Dirty. Let me tell you, dirty, dingy, dusty, racist prick Sutton, yeah? You want to start racist riots around the UK, but you don't know your fucking history. Well, I'm here to give you a history lesson. The reason why immigrants came to this dusty, dingy fucking country is because half of your men were wiped out by World War fucking II. They didn't do it because they wanted equality. They didn't do it because they wanted diversity. They wanted black people to come over to this country and rebuild it again. And you want to know the real reason why you won World War II? It's because India, yeah? India sent around 1.2 million Indians to come and fight the fucking fight because they were part of the Commonwealth, you understand? So if you knew your fucking history, you wouldn't be going after immigrants so fucking hard. America didn't save your ass, Clark. It was India, yeah? And you're talking about you want your jobs back. What fucking jobs are you talking about? Where are they? Are they on Indeed? Are they on Total Jobs? Where are they? Because there's 9 million jobs, yeah, that you can access, that you can fucking apply for. So where the fuck are these immigrants taking jobs? What, you want toilet cleaning? You want office cleaning jobs? You want carer jobs? You want car wash jobs? You want nail salon jobs? You want barbershop jobs? That's what you're angry about. The reason why you don't have those fucking jobs is because you don't have the skill set. You don't add to anything. You are laborers. That is what your history is known for. You are factory workers. You are miners. Most of you work in fucking construction because you can't string a sentence together. But you want to target fucking immigrants. How dare you? Let me tell you something else. The reason why you don't have jobs is because the UK don't export anything. They don't build fuck all. They don't do fuck all. And they don't invent fuck all. And you people ain't gonna work for £5 an hour in a factory. You're best staying on fucking benefits. So instead of being angry at the immigrants trying to make an honest fucking living, I suggest you look towards the Houses of Parliament, because those are the people who put you in poverty. And you can throw all the racist parties you want. We ain't fucking going anywhere. So get fucking used to it. And if it weren't for the immigrants that came over here and made your country great again. You be living with animals, piss and shit. Do you understand? Oh. And the homeless and the toothless can't tell me shit.
Hey, her name is Elaine the Pain. And she brought the pain. So she dropped some facts, y'all. These people, Esau, Edom, like to pretend like they're just almighty and great. Meanwhile, you know, much of their greatness came from the help of us, the Israelites, and then the other nations. All right, the Heavenly Father simply has put them in the leading position, and they're soon about to be taken out, and so now they're crying and complaining. And we sure did go over there and help rebuild Britain, specifically Negroes from the Caribbeans and heavily from the west coast of Africa, which is why, y'all, you have a lot, for brothers and sisters who didn't know, one of the reasons why you have a lot of Jake in England that have that, you know, west coast or Caribbean accents is because that's where they were literally from. Right? You know, they'll have a whole three-way, they'll have an English, British, and you know, African type accent, you know, a hell of a talk, right? Because what? They're some of the descendants of the people who came over there to build that up. And how do we get treated? Like jack shit, like piss and shit. So let's go here first. All right, we're going to bring up some scripts in a second. You know, this is the common theme, y'all. We labor, we build, we get no profit, we get treated like shit. This is the common theme in our history. That's one of the curses. I'll go to it all the time, nigga. I'll go to it twice a day if I need to. Don't got no problem going to the curses. Yeah, all the Israelites, shut up and eat a dick. That's what you should do. Don't be worried about what scriptures we go to. All right. This is what is the Windrush Generation? It says the Windrush Generation refers to the people who migrated to the United Kingdom from the Caribbean countries between 1948 and 1971. The name comes from the ship MV Empire Windrush. It was a big ass boat. It says which brought the first group of 492 passengers from Jamaica. Benjamin. This is why you have a lot of Benjamin in England. Come on now. Think about that, y'all. Think about that. I want you to think for a second. Now, this wasn't the first time Negroes made their way over there, but think about this. You have, you know, a couple million of Negroes over there, right? And they all, not all, many of them spawned from these Jakes that first touched down on that boat. Just in from 1948 to now 2025, you know, went from, you know, from tens of thousands to some millions, all cousins and shit. Says from Jamaica to Tilbury docks in June 1948, these individuals were invited to help rebuild post-war Britain and worked in essential sectors like the National Health Service, transportation, and manufacturing. Origin says primarily Caribbean countries like Jamaica, Trinidad, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Barbados. And St. Lucia should sound familiar to us. Why? Because that's where Elder Apostle Gabar's people's from. You know, he makes mention of that a lot, which is why also, you know, hey, he's been over there in England, right? Because y'all, there's a lot more going on. You got to get out of the little stupid hood bubble. You got to know what's going on in the world, and this truth, you know, through Wisdom Dylan, you begin to find out why the world is the way that it is, right? And why we are scattered. It says they were invited to help rebuild Britain after World War II in a time of labor shortages. It says they were crucial to the post-war economy, working in jobs such as nurses, bus drivers, and factory workers. Legal status as citizens of British colonies, they had the right to live and work in the UK. The British Nationality Act of 1948 cemented this right. The term Windrush Generation was later used to honor the significant contributions of this group to British society, and the Windrush scandal highlighted the subsequent challenges some faced in proving their right to remain. All right, so that's going to be the next subject we slide into. So now we learn about the Windrush Generation, the Negroes that were invited, right, to come rebuild, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. It says they were supposed to have legal status, but when does Esau Edom ever keep his word? Rarely ever, y'all. So let's start with this. Let's start with this, y'all. It was prophecy that we were going to labor and build the empire of our enemies. All right. 1 second. Yep, the the curious case of Deuteronomy, right? Famously, um, we build, they enjoy. We work, they get the pleasure. The heathen set over us. Deuteronomy 28, right here, it says, "The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knewest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed alway." Right? This is the point of having servants in an underclass is so that they do the manual labor while you receive the benefits. And whenever the Heavenly Father would send us into captivity, this was the position we would find ourselves in. We end up becoming the underclass while they get all the benefits and we get fucking nothing. This is how it's been, and this is what it is today. And now, Esau, he's making this big push. They're rewriting history. They're changing facts. They want to make things look as if they've always been great. They did all this on their own, and it's simply just not the truth. It's simply just not the truth. Let me check something out real quick. Otherwise, let me check something out real quick. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was mainly looking at that verse 9. But right here, verse 7, Ezra 9 and 7, it says, "Since the days of our forefathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we, our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of face, as it is this day." So the whole point of taking a people over is to have complete control over all their actions. Us, the Israelites, we sinned against the Heavenly Father, so He's put us in a position where these heathen are constantly over us. And what do? While we labor and toil, they get what? All the benefits. Is it Nehemiah 9? Let me double check. Yeah, Nehemiah 9 and 36. It says, "Behold, we are servants this day. As for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers to eat the fruit thereof and the good thereof, behold, we are servants in it. And it yieldeth much increase unto the kings whom thou hast set over us because of our sins. Also they have dominion over our bodies and over our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress." Now in the ancient times, right, those were the resources that that you wanted power over. And today, what does this look like? Like she said, we're in the factories, we're working, right? We're cleaning, we're doing this and that. We're putting together inventions that make society easier to live in. But do we get any credit or dominion over it? No. We get treated like dog shit, as a matter of fact. And that's where that Baruch comes in. We've become a what? Baruch, not 4. We'll get damn, that's a good verse. 4 and 15. I gotta remember that. They pitied neither old man, reverence the old man, nor the child. Damn, man. Baruch 3 and 3 and 8. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, our power." So we are scattered in these different places. We're subject to payments, bills, licenses, privileges, right? We're cursed. We have no power because we sinned. And in today's world, it's the way that these devils like to frame things. It's as if we just woke up lazy. We're black and Latino and stupid, right? Northern Kingdom too, right? All the work that Northern Kingdom put into building America, if they would have put it in Mexico, Mexico would be a superpower. And I say that all the time. All of the construction and work and all of the work that was put into America by so-called Latinos alone, if they would have put it into their own countries, Mexico and South America would be fucking superpowers. But we're under the curses. We're under the curses. So we building and building and building. And who's getting richer and richer and richer? The heathen. That's why they don't want to let us go. That was the whole debacle. You go to Exodus, right? Let my people go. Let me see. Let me actually type that in. Let people go. I know. Yep. He refused to let us go. Yeah, I just wanted to type this in, right? You see, in our beginnings, y'all, in Exodus, trying to get up from under Pharaoh in Egypt, Matazarium, right? They didn't want to let us go. Why? What were we doing in Egypt, as it tells us in Exodus? Were we just lazy and black? No. What were we doing? Exodus 1 and 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So in these lands, in the lands of our captivity, y'all, we build things up great. These devils know this, which is why they didn't want to let us go. Hey, Jeremiah 15:33, Zechariah 11:5, whose possessors slay them, hold themselves not guilty. Was it Jeremiah 50? They that held them captives refused to let them go, word for word. So now right here we go to the Windrush Generation, or Windrush Scandal, excuse me. It says, was a British political scandal that began in 2018 concerning people who were wrongly detained, denied legal rights, threatened with deportation, and in at least 83 cases wrongly deported from the UK by the Home Office. And now only this is reported 83 cases, but we know it would have happened to many more. So here it is, you invited these people over to the country, they helped build up, and then you treat them like shit and kick many of them out. Why? So you don't have to pay them fair and square. And so all that land and property that they built up, you get to enjoy it. These are some sick bastards we're dealing with, y'all. It says many of those affected had been born British subjects and had arrived in the UK before 1973, particularly from Caribbean countries, as members of the Windrush Generation, which we just learned about, right? It says as a result, I'm starting right here. There was a lot of dead white boys, so they needed Jake to come build. And and this is, bells should be going off. This is why you have a lot of, we'll say, so-called, right, mixed race, which we know truly the Israelite foreigners in England. You got a lot of light-skinned brothers and sisters out there. Why? Because Jake got down here, got settled, right, and started dropping meat every goddamn where, and everything that they could find. God damn it. It says, as a result of the losses during the war, the British government began to encourage mass immigration from mainland Europe to fill shortages in the labor market. It says citizens from former countries of British Empire and Commonwealth also began to seek work in the UK, which resulted in what? Our black asses ended up over there. Many of our brothers and sisters. The Windrush. And how did we get treated, y'all? Let's go back. Let's see. It says ship that brought blah, blah, blah. Okay, it says, as well as those who were deported, an unknown number were detained, lost their jobs or homes, had their passports confiscated, or were denied benefits or medical care to which they were entitled. A number of long-term UK residents were refused re-entry to the UK. A large number were threatened with immediate deportation by the Home Office, linked by commentators to the hostile environment policy instituted by Theresa May during her times as Home Secretary. Wow. Yep. Yeah, hostile. Let's see. People without leave to remain, hope to voluntarily leave. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yeah. So purposely treating people like demons to encourage them to leave. And who do you think they were treating like demons? Jacob, the other heathens that they invited, right? We learned there from that girl that Indians, Elamites, were invited to help, right? So obviously, and this explains the cultural mix in London, especially and heavily, right? They all invited everybody over, and once you got what you wanted, how'd you treat everybody? Like shit, per usual. Very per usual of the so-called white man, the biblical Edomites. All right, so we'll come back here. So I'm just pull up a little bit of footage. Jake liked to see colors and shit. So we'll pull up a little bit of footage, man. Boy, oh boy, shit was good.
The quarter pounder with cheese had many great things. Maple flavored griddle cakes.
Here are 5 facts you didn't know about the Windrush Generation. 1. The HMT Empire Windrush, which arrived in 1948, was not the first ship to transport a large number of Caribbeans to the UK. 2 other ships had arrived the previous year. 2 2. Although the majority of passengers were of Caribbean origin, there were 66 Polish passengers who were granted British citizenship. 3.
So they hooked their own up. Man, Esau's a son of a bitch. You know, if those Polish folk weren't Israelite foreigners, right? If they, you know what I'm saying? They were some real actual Edomites who managed their way onto the boat. So they can get their citizenship, but your black ass gets treated like shit. Ain't that something? They have the ability to do right. They just not gonna do it for you, y'all. They don't do right for them damn selves. Why the fuck would they do right by you? They hate them. Hey, that's Sirach, the 14th chapter. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he do good? He shall take no pleasure in his goods, baby. That's the devil that we're dealing with. Come on now.
Journey wasn't cheap. Tickets cost £28 each plus £5 fee to spread abroad. That's the equivalent of almost £1,000 today. 4. Several members of the Windrush Generation fought on behalf of Britain in the Second World War, including the RAF engineer Sam King, who became the first black mayor of Southwark.
So you see, y'all, these wasn't just no scrangly mangly Negroes that they just grabbed from out the. These were, you know, Jake was the up and coming, well dressed, came to work, right? Well, they came to do everything that the so-called white man said you're supposed to do. Obey the law, be ready to work, right? Be clean cut. We've done all of that. We've done all of that around the world. We did it in America. We've done it over there in England. And what has it gotten us? Nothing but a bigger boot up our ass. So we look towards Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Fuck this man in all his countries. And if you ain't finna keep working for the devil, to no avail. You build, and the Lord, hey, the Lord's gonna throw this shit down, man. The Lord's gonna throw this shit down. Let's look at this real quick. What is the Windrush scandal? God damn it.
Diagnosed with Crohn's
Fucking
disease and
dickhead.
struggling with your symptoms? It's not too soon to talk to your doctor about Entyvio for moderate to severe
The 2018 Windrush scandal was a miscarriage of justice that centered around the Windrush Generation.
Another miscarriage of justice. It seems like they always miscarrying justice, if you fucking ask me. Shit.
Thousands of people who came from the Caribbean to the UK between 1948 and 1971 to work. The 1971 Immigration Act gave Commonwealth citizens living in the UK indefinite leave to remain. In other words, the permanent right to live and work in the UK. However, in April 2018, it emerged that the UK Home Office had kept no records of those granted permission to stay.
Wow, so they was throwing out old people, y'all. Wow.
And had not issued the paperwork they needed to confirm their status. It had also destroyed landing cards belonging to Windrush migrants in 2010. Those affected lost their jobs, their homes, and access to healthcare services. Many had their passports confiscated, and at least 83 people were wrongly deported. Although the Home Office later apologised and established a compensation scheme, efforts to compensate those affected have been widely criticised.
That's some sick shit. Because remember, that's some sick shit. They was kicking out a lot of elderly Negroes, right? But since when has the so-called white man had mercy on the our old or our young? Never. Yeah, that's some asshole shit. Let's look at this.
I want to apologise to you today because we are genuinely sorry for any anxiety that has been caused.
For any anxiety that has been caused. Yeah, you're sorry. Always so sorry. The recipients of that apology from the British government are still fighting to be compensated for the hardships they face. Exactly. Fuck your sorries. If you're going to do right, do right. But he's never going to do right, y'all. That's why Esau Edom simply has to be judged. He's never going to do right. The rich man is never going to do right by the poor man that he's taken advantage of. So you'd be a fool to expect it. So who do we look for our justice from? Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. I'm just laying forth this history if you didn't know, right? But we not crying out to Zaddy for some help. We going to cry out to the Father for some help. Abba Yahweh Nawa, right? Yahweh our Father. Abba Yahweh Hawa. God damn it. There's going to be recompense for this from on high, not from man. I'm just pausing it, so y'all have time to read. the Windrush Generation, many born in former British colonies, including Caribbean countries. I'll just knock the music. It says they were invited to the United Kingdom after World War II, but they were not given documentation to prove legal status in the UK. Wow, man. It says years later they were deported, detained, and denied their legal rights, including employment, healthcare, and housing, I'm assuming. It says that the British government should stop putting up more barriers and compensate those affected. It's the same shit. They're all the same. All these devils are the same, y'all. This is not a uniquely American phenomenon. Now we focus on America because this is the home of the whore, right? This is the where the dragon was revived as America. But wherever Esau goes, this is his MO, his modus operandi, his mode of operations. This is how he gets down, y'all, everywhere. And it constantly involves him taking advantage of us, the children of Israel, Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, one way or a motherfucking other.
There were people coming from Europe, Ireland, Italy, Germany, Poland. The ones that came from continental Europe, not Ireland, I'm not sure what happened.
Now look at this guy. I'm gonna assume somewhere along the way, one of his fathers was a black man who got with a white woman. Like I said earlier, explaining, all the so-called mixed kids. Now, I don't know, he might be a prolific guy, I just don't know him. But you can tell from looking, he's probably directly affected from all this shit that was going on
with them. But the ones that came from continental Europe received also state subsidy to come here. So then you have this other group of people who are paying for themselves and contributing as British taxpayers, and then are received not just by the public. What the state has commonly done is given us this impression that ignorant working class people were just so racist, the state sort of had to give in. And there's no doubt that there was a bit of that mentality there. Any Windrush Generation person will tell you that. But the state had decided, if you read the documents, their own archive, unless they forged their own archive to make themselves look more racist than they were, they had decided from the moment the boat arrived that these people would never really be citizens. So Attlee's government referred to the literal passengers on the Windrush as an incursion and said that steps needed to be taken so that no further influxes were encouraged. These are British citizens, taxpayers, mostly skilled workers, so the only thing that was abnormal about them, quote unquote, was their blackness. There were people coming from Europe.
Wow, so what he just explained, he was speaking fast, he has an accent. Basically, he was saying it wasn't just the regular citizens who were treating Jake like shit when they got over there, but the government of England, they call their things a little bit differently, House of Parliament, all this, all that. They wrote it up that, hey, we're going to invite them over here, but we're never going to make them full-blown legal citizens. That was written into their law early on. And he's saying apparently, they may have forged certain things to try to appear to look like they were good and clean, holy. And of course they're not, y'all. The truth always comes out on Esau. He's always been a lying, sinister, slick son of a bitch from day zero. Hey, literally, the spirit in him, going back to the spirit that is in the serpent, that old dragon, right? He's never dealt fair and squarely. He said they were listed as an incursion, and an incursion simply an invading force. So here it is, you invite these people over with the full intentions to, after you get what you want, to kick them out. That's the devil's playbook, y'all. You can't make this. Shit. How many more clips do I have to show you? Well, I'd advise you in your own time, just type in Windrush Generation and just watch some of these, watch some of these videos, y'all. Jake died behind it. There were some of these Jake who, came over here, y'all. Esau killed some of them, right? Out of jealousy, out of envy, right? Folk died behind this. And so now, these people, here it is, grandparents and them came over, built this country up. Now, what are their grandchildren out there doing? Killing, stabbing each other out. They're going through the same shit that we're going over here in America, essentially, right? Broke the older ones and bugged out the younger ones. So now it's just an entire system of fucked offness.
When Keir Starmer said that we were an island of strangers, he failed to recognise that actually the Windrush generation have enriched so many communities in Britain. People who are just like my grandma. Brixton Market was and still is a vital part of our story as Caribbean people living in London. My own childhood was characterised by trips to Brixton Market with my grandma. This sounds idyllic, But the Windrush Generation story was no stroll in the park. They battled racism in housing, education, and healthcare. You name
Jim Crow. We was going through Jim Crow. They went through that shit there.
it. In fact, our famous Caribbean front rooms were born out of the fact that we were often unwelcome in pubs and also many local churches. And this wasn't just from random strangers. This was endorsed at government level. People like Enoch Powell stoked the flames of racism against those who had newly arrived.
Hold up, bro. That's gonna be the title. That shit said "Keep Britain White." What does that sound like?
At government level. People like Enoch Powell stoked the flames of
Make America Great Again.
racism against those who had newly arrived in Britain.
Send them back. That's an ugly ass bitch. Oh my god. Some of you niggas, cause some of you white boys, grandmamas was hit, boy. Your great grandmamas was ugly.
But the Windrush Generation shone through. So let's be clear. The Windrush scandal wasn't merely a mistake, it was a policy choice rooted in institutional racism. Recent fearmongering from our Prime Minister echoes the divisive rhetoric of power. Instead of trying to divide us, perhaps the government should focus on fixing the real, long-standing issues that people face around housing, employment, and healthcare. This monument was put here after the Windrush scandal. And while it's stunning, a monument alone falls short of what the Windrush Generation truly deserved: justice and compensation.
And you're not gonna get it. You're looking from the wrong places. So hey, man, that's about it, y'all. Just a little bit of history, man. It twas the devil, is the devil, gonna be the devil. You understand what I'm saying? It's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun fucking with this guy. All right, so that's about it, y'all. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Chachurash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim, Wa'akwaf, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom.